Welcome, everybody, to this episode of the Awaken and Cultivate podcast. You're actually going to realize this is kind of a unique episode because we're dropping an episode on a day I don't normally drop an episode. So there's going to be a few things happening with the Awaken and Cultivate podcast. You're going to start seeing more of myself, just with individual topics and themes, as well as my girl, Kelly Jo, over here, is going to be joining us once a month. And we're going to be talking about something kind of in the cosmos, the sun, the moon, the stars, and everything else in between. She's Miss Sunshine over here and Miss Astrology. So I've asked her to start coming on once a month to share with us what is going on in the cosmos, how it's affecting us here in our 3D reality of what we call life and earth. So she's going to help us with some tools, tricks, some self-care things. If you want to connect with her on YouTube, she is a YouTube star, in my opinion. So if you'll head over to her YouTube, she's going to have more in-depth training and information on the specific astrological events that are coming up in April. But we're going to kind of give you an overview each month of what's going on, how it's going to affect your energy, things that you can do to uplift yourself, uplift those in your household, uplift those in your life and everything that goes on around you. So I'm going to turn it over to my girl, Miss Sunshine, Kelly Jo over here.
Yay. Wow. What a introduction. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm super excited for this podcast today. Of course, April, but for the opportunity to do this for us. Definitely. I love connecting with you. Our souls are just so great together. But the world needs to hear this. People need to hear this. I started my YouTube astrology kind of journey, I would say about 2 years ago now. I still to this day claim I am not an expert. I say 101. This is astrology 101. This is the basics. I really try my hardest to break things down, to explain things, and most of the time a way that you've never heard them explained before, because I didn't either. We come from very similar paths, so this is very new to me as well. So I'm really excited to be trusted to have this space, and I hope you guys love it. And yeah, my YouTube channel is Sunshine Joe 420, but we'll drop that somewhere, I'm sure. So April 2023, if you guys see me looking down, I always just like to tell people I'm looking down at my notes. I do have a book here as well that I might reference a little bit, but we have 4 things we're going to talk about. Full moon in Libra, new moon in Aries, Taurus season, just the beginning of Taurus season. We're going to talk about all that, and then we're going to end with Mercury retrograde. Right. I'm excited for that. Okay. So full moon in Libra. We have a full moon coming up on April 4th, April 5th, depending on where you're located. Libra is the sign that represents the scales. Here's my little book that I'm going to reference to. It just has such great explanation in here. So Libra is an air element. It is very airy. It is very imaginative, creative, but for the well-being of all. It is represented, like I said, by the scales. It is all about balance. It's all about harmony, diplomatic things. Yeah, a lot of different perspectives, ideas. You either love a Libra or you don't like a Libra because they're probably calling you out on life. Okay. So when we have that being positioned in the full moon, it is also a pink moon. That is what this full moon is called because it is the first full moon of spring. So super excited about that. I live in Northern Illinois and super excited for that. Super. It's also a super full moon. So what that means is it's just an extra illuminated bright moon. I wrote an extra bright spotlight. Like you walk into the garage, like we have a motion light, and you walk in and it is like, boom. That's what this full moon is going to do. It is going to bring in the awareness of where you need balance in your life, where you're struggling to find that yin and yang. It's going to allow you to identify the things that are throwing you off, and it's going to give you an opportunity to reflect on them. Libra is all about we. Right now, the sun is in Aries. It is an Aries season. So if you're in Aries, drop a comment, say what's up. Aries is with love, all about themselves, me, I, right? You know, where are they going? What are they doing? And if there are people along the way that benefit from that, awesome, great. But you're not going to talk an Aries out of doing what an Aries wants to do. Libra is opposite of that. Libra is we for us. What can I do to bring more balance to the collective, to the relationships? I know that's very broad. So for this instance, think about your relationships. And sometimes that might be the hardest thing or the easiest thing. I'm a mom of 5. I have a husband. I have a business that I run. I am very active on social media. I have a very select few close friends. Relationships, constantly flowing. And it is time for me, you, all of us to identify the ones that are holding us back, the ones that don't feel good, the ones that need more nutrients. Nurturing, thank you. The ones that make us feel good. And it is time to choose them. We are the only ones that get to choose. You get to choose. And the full moon is just a reminder to let the light in, acknowledge the relationships that are working. And a lot of the times, I'm going to take a little drink. I know that we've all heard the expression, the yin to my yang. I'm even wearing my yin yang shirt today.
Great.
And one thing that is never, ever explained or talked about or identified is that you are actually the yin to your own yang. There is nothing else that anybody has or can bring to you, your purpose, your journey, your mission, your vision, that will make it better or that will bring more balance. Like, it is you. That is where duality comes in. Duality was a word that I had never even heard before I started my astrology journey. And duality is just the equal balance of the yin and the yang. That's feminine and masculine energy. Again, we're going to keep this 101. There is so much information about this. Even just doing an astrology forecast for the month, I had to choose what things I wanted to put in and what I thought was worth talking about, because there's so much going on. There's always so much going on. So please always do your own research and your own education. Let's see what else I got. Libra is all about 100% from all sides. It wants to know all the information. It's looking at the good and the bad. It's looking at all sides to an argument, all sides to a relationship, all sides to a topic. And it doesn't have a good side or a bad side. All sides bring what they bring to the table. I mean, can you imagine like Thanksgiving, like without chicken, without the gravy and without the corn and without the mashed potatoes? That would be like asking somebody to choose what side you want to bring. Libra understands that all sides bring a very important component to the feast, and appreciate that. Gratitude. A lot of people are thinking in their head right now, like, how do I even start? Be thankful. Be thankful for the shitty relationships, and be thankful for the good relationships, and be thankful for when you were a really good friend, and be thankful for when you were a really bad friend or a bad mom. Let's just be honest. I'm going to call myself out. You know, like, there are so many times and days where I'm not showing up and I'm not speaking my best self and I'm not doing all of the things, but I love her. I know she was just trying her best. I know that the balance will always come because I believe in me.
I'm going to stop you right there for just a quick second, because I know a lot of our listeners are mamas, wives, or entrepreneurs, business owners. So you're wearing a lot of hats. And I hope that you heard what Kelly Jo said. You have to love yourself even in the bad times, even when you totally, utterly fail. because those are great lessons for when we go into seasons like we're going into, because we just went through a major astrological phenomenon in that none of us have ever seen in thousands of years, and we're not going to see again for thousands of years. And we got to experience it. So we're all getting to be rebirthed astrologically and in our emotions and our spirits. So take that and just love yourself with grace where you are.
I love that. You get to choose, like we get to experience, we get to live, we get to be wrong, and we get to fail, and we get to understand and see things in a different light. And the full moon is obviously, it affects our emotions. I say all the time, we understand and we accept as humans that full moons dictate and affect the oceans and the waves and the tides. But when it comes down to whether or not it affects us as humans, that's where people are like, no. And that's, of course it does. Of course it does. And you're going to feel heightened, and it's all about the balance. I said, how would it feel to feel completely at peace?
That's a great question.
Listeners,
you need to stop. Balanced? You need to stop right now. I want our listeners to put the podcast on pause. Take a second and literally sit down with that question. What does that feel like? Not what is it? Don't define it. Except in the fact that you're defining it with your emotions. How does that feel? Because I bet many of you have not sat down and actually thought how that would feel to be at peace. So when you get done with that, then you can come back and listen to what Kelly Jo has to say. But you really should take a second, because that's a powerful, powerful question for us as human beings to understand what peace really is.
Yeah. And I was just going to go a little bit further with that. Welcome back. But balance. How does it feel to be on a teeter-totter and you're on both sides? Like, I know it sounds crazy. I'm closing my eyes and I'm seeing it right now, and it's crazy, okay? But it's how it works, and you get to choose, and you don't have to compromise. You just have to be willing to level up, be willing to grow, be willing to heal, and be okay with the changes and the tides, and allow the change. I said, allow the change, grow, baby, grow. Okay. I'm going to find somewhere to post all these notes. Find me on social media. I post all my stuff, all my stories. So that would be a really good place if you guys want copies of these notes. Next thing we're going into. So again, that was the full moon in Libra on April 5th, because that's where it's going to be for us. Next thing, new moon. Basic explanation here is when the full moon is happening, it's the brightest in the sky. It's the climax. It is directly opposite of the sun. We see it, but that's not the end of the moon cycle. That is halfway through the moon cycle. And now the moon goes back down to new moon. And then it goes back up. It doesn't go from full moon bright in the sky to the new moon. You can't see it. No, progressively it goes back down. So from the days of April 5th to then April 19th, that is going to be your go down phase. Okay. That's going to be where you're really going to be implementing everything that we just talked about. And then the new moon is in Aries. Now, we just had a full moon in Aries on March 20th, 21st. Don't quote me on that. I did a YouTube video on that, a full explanation. It is one of the best videos I've done in a really long time. So I'm not going to spend too much time on this because I want you to go watch that. But the new moon in Aries is a second chance. This does not happen very often, you guys. Like once in, I don't want to say like an actual like time, thousands, millions, I don't really know. But the fact that we have two full moons back to back in the same sign. I have written down here, the universe heard you, and the change is knocking on your door again. It's time to answer. It's time to answer. It's also going to be extra potent, like we just talked about with the full moon. It is a eclipse. So again, that's just going to add extra fire. I wrote down, as if we needed any extra fiery, explosive Aries energy, we went and added an eclipse to it, which doesn't mean anything else except the things that you know you want to do, the things that you know you are denying, the places you know you want to go, the relationships you know you want to build. That's what you need to do. We're not, and the universe, me, I, God, source, we don't want you pulling out of a hat of this is what all my friends do. This is what everyone on social media does. No, like, what do you want to do? We just talked about Aries is I, and it's not bad. We should all be focused on ourselves. We should all be understanding with what it is we want and where it is we're going and how we're getting there. And that's it. That's it. But we have these ideas that, well, if it's not in the norm or people don't like it or fill in the blank of whatever negative thing comes to your mind, we get off course. And no more. In my YouTube video, I wrote the theme of that video was, okay, now what? Okay, now what? Like, yes, you've learned. Yes, you balanced yourself. And yes, you figured out your relationships that didn't help you. And yes, you identified the weeds. And yes, you figured out what you wanted to plant. And now what? Now what? It is time for action. It is time to go. It's time to go. But you have to go without your ego and without your self-sabotage and without your worry and without your doubt and without everyone else's damn opinion, because that will win. It will win. It will always win. I don't care if it's a full moon. I don't care if it's a new moon, fuller, lunar eclipse season. Your doubt will win. And it's hard to build that. It's hard to get to the place where you know that what you are doing is pure and what you want is destined and it's already yours. I mean, that takes so much time. I'm still working on that every day. Like, but you do that by affirmations. I am worthy. I am happy. I am safe. I am deserving. I am abundant. When I first started my journey, I wrote that on my mirrors and dry erase marker on every single notebook, anywhere. It's literally reprogramming your brain and your thoughts that you can't do it or you shouldn't do it or fill in the blank. I said it is already yours and all things work together for your good. The main thing here is identifying that last new moon we had in Aries. You got part of the story there is really what I'm picking up. Like, part of it. You kind of get it. You kind of understand. You kind of learned. But this new moon that's coming, it is the puzzle piece that makes you go, oh, okay. That makes so much sense. I understand. And it might not feel good. 85% of us are going to have an oh moment that isn't great. Okay, now what? We don't have time to sit there because you already knew it was coming and you already, we have to start being honest with ourselves. Perspective, put it all together. Make or break, burn or rise. This is your time. You have to reflect and then you have to move. And the last thing I'll say here with the new moon in Aries is act as if your whole life and your whole harvest depends on it, because it does. It really does. Everything that you do and all the relationships that you have and everything you give your time and your energy and your space to and all your plants, it matters. It matters. Okay, that's the Aries new moon. How you doing over there? Any questions?
No, I'm just like there's so many nuggets. Like I'm sitting here writing notes. Like I'm like, and I've been studying this stuff like all week to prep for this. And I'm like sitting here going, holy day. But the one thing that I really am just, I don't know, like it's when you said like the cycle of the moon, just thinking about how, I mean, we're women, so we all have a cycle, whether you want it or not, you got it. So we have the cycle of life, we have the cycle of, you know, the monthly, we have the cycle of the moon, and we're all in these cycles. And many of us have been waiting for this cycle to get here, this harvest season to get here. And for many of our listeners, especially those that are entrepreneurs, business owners, mamas, anybody who has planted seeds of any kind in any ground, they're now going to be able to cultivate and literally harvest what they're doing. And that's so exciting because I cannot wait to hear what some of our listeners are doing. And I can't wait to see what we're going to do. So,
Yeah.
you know.
If that didn't give you butterflies and like excitement, because I said this, you'll hear this in the YouTube video again that I just posted, but like the work has been put in, like the doubt and the worry and the valley and all of that that has been holding you back and has been hurting you and has been all of these things working against you. Like it's over. It's now over with. Like there is no more famine. There is no more drought. There's no more questioning. Like it is clear as day. And you are so supported by physical people like me and Rachel and communities, but by the cosmos, by God. Like you are just so divine. And there's just never been a better time to.
But I want to give this perspective too to our listeners, because most of them are in the US. So right now in the US, everything is really as turbulent as it possibly could be. And it has been for decades, because I've been around a lot longer than you have. But and for, you know, I mean, but there's been things going on. But to think about having the cosmos having your back, God having your back. I mean, that's a concept that many of us say, but we never get to see it in our reality. But just knowing these alignments are all happening right now, when even in our day-to-day life, everything seems to be so chaotic, but to know that God has our back, is aligning all the things for our good, and all we have to do is harvest it. That's a pretty powerful place to be. I hope our listeners really understand that we are here right now for a time and a season that hasn't happened astrologically for a very, very long time.
Yeah.
So to think that right now, where we are with the people that we have, the businesses that we have, the communities that we have, the family units that we have, even the politics that we have, it's all for our greater good. May not seem like it, but it is. Yeah. And so to really think about that and step out of ourselves and to go, hey, I'm all part of this grand plan. That's just really badass in my opinion. So
1,000%, 1,000%. And simply because we say so. Because I say so. There's nothing that you need to do or that is waiting for you to be complete or finish or worthy enough to have. Like it is because you have been born. You are born with a God-given right birth, right purpose to sow these seeds and to have this harvest and to grow these things. It's not an accident. And it's yours for the taking. It's mine for the taking. And there's more than enough. Like that's where the really like the empowered woman idea comes into place now. Like we don't hate on each other. We're not jealous. We're not envious. There's just a new energy with the woman and with the goddess. And I'm so excited and thankful to be here for it. Yes.
Gives me chills.
Same. Okay. So now we're going to move into, so we talked about full moon and new moon. Now we're going to go into a little bit on Taurus season. So in the beginning of the video, I was like, I didn't really know exactly what I was going to put in here. I wanted to keep it, nice and pretty, but Taurus season, I feel like every month we should just talk about the zodiac sign that's coming up to bat. And if there's any Tauruses, let us know. Drop it in the comments. It is a exciting time to be so Taurus season is from April 20th to May 20th. I'm going to pull out my book again here. This is funny. It's not sad, but this is how much I use my book. Let me just pull my page out here. Taurus is April 20th to May 20th. It is an earth element. Aries, which is what the sun was just in. The zodiac sign, let's break that down real quick. The zodiac sign is where the sun is placed in the sky. I explained this in my last YouTube video, but astrology was created by our ancestors hundreds of thousands of years ago to help them with travel, to help them with financial insight, to help them with building insight, to help them with fertility, to help them with harvest. It's not new. It has been helping and guiding and translating for a really long time in a lot of different generations and et cetera, et cetera. So Aries is the very first sign in the zodiac wheel. Aries is ruled by fire. Like I said, Aries is that I am energy, direct. It is strong. It is powerful. Now we're moving into Taurus. Taurus is an earth element. It is a fixed sign, so it's not moving around. The symbol is the bull. And the expression for Taurus is I have. Grounded in reality. So when I say grounded, a lot of people might not even understand what that means, but like go take your shoes off and go outside and go put your feet in the grass and feel the sun on your face. And then as soon as you do that, you'll notice you'll start hearing more. You'll hear birds and you'll hear more of nature. And then your hair will rise up on your skin because you'll feel the wind and all of those senses coming in from the earth, from nature. That is grounding. So if you're feeling like I have no idea what this girl is talking about, go sit on a blanket outside and just listen to the rest of this if that's an ability that you have. Because sunshine is medicine. Wellness is outside. Okay. Period. We'll just say that there. So it is a little bit different than Aries, but they have similar goals. They really have ideas of what they want and how they want it and when they're going to get it. And they're going to get it. They're going to get it. A Taurus that is very in tune with themselves is very generous. It's very creative. It's very fun and silly and supportive and logical and loyal, very loyal, practical, like you can call them if you need something, if they love you. If not, they're not going to answer.
Yeah. I have to laugh at that because I have a Taurus in my house and that is so him to a T. If he loves you that day, it's good. If he doesn't like you that day, you are SOL.
Yeah, and they're stubborn as a bull. This is where it comes from. So I have an app on my phone. It's a free app. It is, I can't think of it right now, and I'm going to move on from it, but it's a free app. I'll drop it somewhere in the comments. But you can hold your phone, you put it up into the night sky, and you hold it to the stars, and it will show you the constellations in the sky. And it will show you the stars constellation looking like a bull in the sky. She's going to show you guys.
It's called Sky View Light.
Sky View. Yes. There is a paid version, but there is a free version too that does just what you need to do. Okay. That is where you'll really get a better idea of connecting astrology to the stars. Like it's not like made up like a bull. It's shaped like a bull in the sky. Okay. Now, one thing about Taurus season is that if you don't slow down, you're gonna mess stuff up. Okay. I wanted to say bad words right there because I swear a lot of my videos, but I'm trying to get better at that. But you're gonna ruin the shop. A bull in the china shop. Perfect example. Okay. If you do not slow down and take time to analyze, to reflect, to question, to, just think a little bit, it's not going to go good. You have to fall back in love with the little things in life. One thing about Taurus is, so I don't know if it was on like TikTok or what it was on one time, but it was like, one thing about a Taurus is they are always going to be the best dressed, and they're always going to have the nicest things. And they like that. They like to look good. They like to be fancy. They love jewelry. They love fine dining. Like, give me the Wagyu steak, like they love it. And there's nothing wrong with that. There is nothing wrong with that. But you cannot get to the point where you forget to be thankful for the smell of the bread while you walk past a bakery, or rain in Paris. Like, there are just little things that deserve to be appreciated, that deserve to be loved, and never forget the little things in life. Never forget. I said Aries is all about action, and action is good. Action is needed. You'll get nowhere in life without action, but the pause, sometimes it sucks. But the pause is powerful. The pause is where you really listen. You stop talking and you listen and you learn and you feel things and you cry and you write things down and you question and you analyze and you be alone and you pause. And some people have never paused a day in their life because it's scary. But the pause is precious. The pause is power. There is power in the pause, and you will see things, learn things, and identify things that you would have never caught in action mode. Be grounded in yourself, in your truth, in your reality. I do have a few journal prompts for Taurus season. So number one is, what is something that makes you feel secure? Something that you give yourself. Not something that somebody else provides you. What is something that makes you feel secure? Even if it's like, I know Taekwondo, or I have a FOID card, or I know how to lock my doors in my beautiful house. You know what I mean? There's different levels of this. What makes you feel secure? Number two, where do you need to slow down in life? Probably everywhere. That was what my head just told me. And I get it. And that's not possible. I get it. But the pause, truly pausing and asking yourself, what relationships, what things, what needs more time? What do I need to slow down and do more? Take care of myself, take care of my husband, take care of my kids, heal, learn. Okay. What do you need to make more time to do? Kind of goes into the next question. What needs more attention and love in your life? It could be you. You could be the answer. And that's a very valid answer. Then the last question here is, what am I willing to face off with? Imagine like the bull. What are you willing to face off with / resolve in order to have the security you desire? That could be in a relationship, that could be in a job, that could be in an idea, in a belief. What are you willing to give up? What are you willing to stop doing right now to get yourself a little closer to the security that you desire?
Powerful question.
Powerful question, I know. Take your time with it. Take your time with it.
I'm going to pause a second because I thought it was very significant. When you were talking about the pause, I looked up and it was 1:11 on my time on my clock. So the angels were definitely trying to get our attention in the pause.
Wow. Thank you, universe. I'm going to send a little text here to my...
So listeners, if you need to take a second and answer those questions, please do so. If you are struggling with some of the questions that Kelly Jo is asking you, because some of these are really like, they're going to be tough questions to answer. And to be honest, with your answers. Because many of you are just going to write answers because that's what you think you're supposed to write.
Yeah.
They're not really the answers that are deep down in your soul that need to be written or need to be pondered or need to be thought about. So if you're struggling with those, please reach out to one of us, and we would love to help you process through those questions, because when you are a soul having a human experience, questions like that are soul questions. They're deep down soul questions that really have to be answered as part of your cultivation of who you are as a soul having a human experience. They're part of who you are going to become in this pause.
Yeah.
And who you are when you get rid of the shit, I'm going to say it,
Yeah.
that doesn't need to be there after the pause.
Mhm.
Because there will be stuff you have to let go, or you're just going to keep repeating it.
Yeah, that's what I was going to piggyback and say. Like, you've probably asked yourself questions like this, maybe not as deep, but like, what do you want to be when you grow up? Or what do you want to do? What makes you happy? And you've never been honest with yourself. And that is why you're not having results.
Exactly.
And it's not supposed to feel good. You're supposed to feel a little triggered by that. It's supposed to be personal. You don't have to share with anyone else in this whole world. It's not for anyone else. And yeah, I totally agree. Please take the time to be open with that stuff.
Right. And I'm going to piggyback on that because I wrote something down the other day, because I was thinking about that word triggered, because we use that a lot in our lives. And I was thinking about the word trigger is actually a mirror. It's the mirror. When you're triggered by something, it's the mirror. It's the looking glass.
Yeah.
For all of us fairy tale ladies. It's that looking glass that we're looking into that's reflecting back to us what our soul is ready for you to work on. Because the soul never reveals what we're supposed to work on until we're ready. And when those things start triggering in us, those questions are triggering to us, situations, friends, family, people, whatever, situations, society, whatever it is that's triggering you, that is your indicator that, hey, your soul's trying to get your attention because it needs you to work on something.
Yeah, it's a great place to start.
Yeah, it's not external, it's all internal. So just think about that word. If something does come up like that, there's nothing wrong in that. That's just where you need to be because you're ready to do something.
Yeah. Agreed.
Awesome. All right. So what did you got for us next? Because I know there's another thing that's coming up.
All right, y'all. This is the last one. It's probably the scariest one, but I'm gonna debunk that myth for you guys. Okay. So we're gonna talk about Mercury retrograde. Mercury retrograde is technically happening on April 21st. If you've noticed, we've kind of gone in order, but there's a lot happening right there between the 19th, 20th, 21st. It's a lot. Mercury retrograde. Okay, so we've heard of it. Everybody's heard of it. We all have a negative idea of it. Everyone blames their bullshit on it. Everyone uses it as a scapegoat, as an excuse, and I am not here for it. I am not here for it. And I am here to help you learn a little bit more about it. So break it down. Mercury retrograde. All planets go into retrograde. What that means is how long it takes a planet to get around the sun. Us on Earth, it takes us 365 days. We know that, right? We also know that there's the leap year and that we've kind of done some things to, get it there. But 365 days. For Mercury, it takes Mercury 88 days to orbit the sun. It's fast. It's fast. Mercury is also the planet. I'm not going to get too much into this either. I do birth chart readings, but every planet is doing something for you. It is ruling something. It is in charge of something. And Mercury is in charge of communicating and of technology and of intellect and of brain and of your brain. And when you add that to how fast it moves, okay, shit is going to get weird. It's just life. It's just life. I said, sometimes shit is hard, and that is okay. We are not going to blame our problems on Mercury retrograde anymore. And we're not going to continue to allow something like Mercury retrograde to throw us into old patterns, old relationships, old communicating styles. Like, consider it like a test, okay? Every 88 days, so I'm gonna pull out my book here, okay? Short definition here, it says, ancient stargazers observed an interesting phenomenon. Every now and then, the planets would stop, pivot, and begin moving backward in the sky. When planets did this, our ancestors observed its functions would be a little skewed during this time. However, planets are not actually moving backwards. Retrograde motion is an optical illusion. Let's break it down. Have you ever been in traffic? I think it's Chicago traffic, right? And you're in a car and you're next to a semi. And when you're driving next to this semi and you look over, because you're both kind of going a little slow, you know what I mean? Like, you're in traffic. Neither of you are driving at the speed that your brain, your mind wants to be driving. And you look over at the semi and it appears that the semi is moving in reverse. Another example, when you're on a train, okay? You're on a train, you're going 35 miles an hour and you're passing cars on the highway that are going a different speed. At some point, those cars are going to look as if they're moving backwards. They're not. It's an illusion in our brain because of the speed, okay? That's what's happening. Mercury is not moving backwards. Mercury is lapping us. A lot. A lot. And there's a short period of time, Mercury retrograde, that lasts about 25 to 27 days, that we catch up with him. Okay, imagine being a track star and you have lapped everyone 3 times. There's going to be a time where you're lined up with everyone, you're running the same course, but you are 3.4 miles ahead of them. Now, are you going the same speed as them? No, you're going faster than them. Do you appear to be on the same level? Yeah. That's Mercury retrograde, okay, guys? It's an illusion. It happens the most because Mercury moves the fastest. We know about it most because it's the one that people can blame their shitty relationships and their shitty communication and their lack of acknowledgement and their lack of acceptance and awareness and action can come from. And I'm not here to say that you might not have some communication issues, and you might have some stubbornness from your husband and from your kids, and you might have a tussle with your friend, and you might have issues logging onto a Zoom, and you might have, you know what I mean? That shit probably will happen. Absolutely. But the test is to stay focused, to stay calm. We're not combating stubbornness with rudeness. We are not combating somebody's communication and anger in their own self with anything. I do not claim. I do not have to choose that. I do not have to accept that. And if you are going through something, you are having relationships, communications that do seem like they're heating up and they're boiling, and that's not the first time that this relationship or this situation has done it to you. And Mercury retrograde can actually act like a blessing to show you what's got to go. If you're having the same conversations, you're having the same fights, you're having the same issues, the same things come up in your life every 3 to 4 months, and you just don't know why. It's time to work on it. It's time to identify, it's time to acknowledge and relax. You don't have to retaliate. You don't have to give in to the idea that stuff is not great, all things work together for our good. Let me see. control. Okay. That is something we are not in control of nothing. Nothing, nobody, at any time, at any point, anywhere in your life, are you in control of anybody else but yourself, of anything else but yourself. And trying to maintain control is the number one way to get yourself mad and get yourself confused and sad and in a spot where you feel, I don't know what to do. Like, I've been there. I've freaking been there. And to not be there is to not be here. That was good. That was good. I said, stay calm, stay thankful, stay focused, stay forgiving, stay still, stay honest, stay committed, and stay happy. All things work together for your good.
Awesome. So I hope you guys were taking notes, because if you haven't put the dots together, the universe has given us times for us to do certain things, for us to be aware, for us to take action, for us to pause, and for us to reflect. And those are the things that are going to be happening in April. So I hope that you take time to pay attention to those dates. I hope that you take time to set aside time in order to take care of the things that are happening in those seasons, because they're an awareness tool. They're not a blame game or an escape or a reason for whatever you're trying to justify. I'm going to say it, because that's what, to me, with Mercury retrograde, a lot of people are like, oh, this is my justification to be a bitch. It's not.
It's not. And sometimes, you guys, sometimes you are the problem.
Yes.
Sometimes you are in the wrong. Yeah. Sometimes you didn't have all the pieces to the puzzle and you made a decision that didn't actually deserve to be made. And you're the one that needs to get the kick in the butt. It doesn't have to always be somebody else. If you are constantly on that, like them vibe, it's probably
you. It is you.
It is you.
I'm going to say it.
Yeah.
I'll be the mean one. It is you.
It's all about balance.
Yes. And it's also the awareness that when it's all about somebody else, that's your ego talking.
Super loud.
Super, super loud. And it's getting reflected to you super, super loud, because you need to work on it. And so take the time to reflect, take the time to take care of yourself, take the time to reach out to people, mentors, loved ones, friends who have the ability to help you process or figure out things or work through things in a way that is productive and safe and secure for not only you, but the people around you. And I wanted to give in these episodes a little tool for you to use. I purchased this book many, many, many years ago. It's called Ritual Baths. I love my baths. I do. So I love doing all types of different types of baths. But this book is Ritual Baths, Be Your Own Healer by Deborah Hannekamp. I know I'm going to say that wrong, but I will link it in the show notes. But she has a ritual bath called a Mercury Direct Bath. And so I wanted to read a little excerpt from that. Mercury retrograde can have an intense effect on the color violet within you. So she talks a lot about auras in this book. So if you're one of those people who see colors, this will be right up your alley. When Mercury finally turns direct again, it meets this transition, which is feeling grateful for the rest and a very deep lesson learned. Mercury retrograde can bring up a lot for us. This bath is designed to help you cleanse, process, and digest the revelations, emotions, and sluggishness this period can bestow upon us and get us ready for a positive forward momentum. In the bath, I'll put the recipe to the bath in the show notes as well. It's Epsom salt, charcoal, daffodil flowers, rose petal, a type of berry powder, and rosemary and rose essential oils. And she also talks about crystals that you can use in your bath, such as smoky quartz and obsidian crystals. That's one of my favorite. So you can take this little bath and you can cleanse yourself in order to go through Mercury retrograde, come out of Mercury retrograde, however you want to use it as a ceremonial time for yourself to go through all these planetary alignments, all of these moon alignments, all of these retrogrades, all of this fun stuff astrologically that's going on for you. And if there's any questions that you have about any of the tools that Kelly, Joe, or I use, resources that we have, ways that we can help you. Kelly Joe takes a look at your birth chart readings. I look at your soul contract readings. So there's multiple tools and ways that we can help you, as well as with products and time management tools and books and resources and podcasts, et cetera, that we can help you with along your journey. So reach out to us at any time and just let us know where you are, what you're doing. Please make sure that you give us a review over on Spotify or iTunes, and go out to Kelly Joe's YouTube channel and check her out there. The link will be in the show notes. And YouTube will be launching for myself and the Awaken and Cultivate podcast here in this wonderful Taurus season. So might have to rethink that right there. No, just kidding. We'll be launching too, so you'll be able to see the live version of this as well here in the future, and all the other episodes that we have as well. So we're super grateful that you've been with us today. So gratitudes and blessings to each of you. We will see you on the next episode.